Okay. And
Nice.
so we have, yeah, thank you all for being here this evening. My name is Tim Purvis. I'm the Volunteer Engagement Manager with the Financial Planning Association. And sort of part of this effort is to support our student communities and our universities who have CFP programs or financial planning programs, whatever capacity that might look like. And so we're trying to start this going. And Julie Johnson, our speaker this evening, um, will sort of be talking about understanding your self-worth within the industry as you're getting going. And so it is a conversation that's hopefully be beneficial for students, but for professors as well. Hopefully you can share this out with your students. But Julie started her career with Smith and Barney in Denver and quickly became a team manager overseeing over $1 billion in assets. Julie was able to navigate the financial crisis of 2008, and since then has gone on to receive her behavioral finance certification, in 2016. Julie has since started a new career as a full-time certified coach, a consultant, a public speaker, an author. She's also the CEO of XY Communication as well. And so we're very happy to have Julie here this evening leading the conversation. And so I will turn it over to you, Julie. And thank you again so much for being here this evening.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tim. Can everybody hear me okay? Yes. And those of you who are not on video, if you would bravely come on to video, unless of course that makes the sound not work, but do what's best for you. I'm just glad you're here. So I wanted to just say thank you. And what I hope to accomplish this evening in the next 30 minutes or so is a discussion of how to advocate for ourselves to get what we want and what we deserve, while also respecting and fulfilling the needs of the people that we work with and for. The chat feature, as you know, is open. So please submit any questions. Tim will make sure that those are viewed by, and then we'll have plenty of time toward the end of the hour, again, after about 30 minutes to discuss.
Join the meeting.
And so lots of time. Love feedback, love any kind of thoughts, questions, anything that you want. I'm here for you. So what I want to make sure that we get through today is making sure, while advocating for yourself, what is the best way while advocating for yourself and asking for what you want and need? How can you most accomplish making that situation a win-win, and therefore walk away accomplishing what you want and what you're looking for? So as an example, when interviewing, or what we might call, selling or representing ourselves, there's this challenging dichotomy of advocating for ourselves, showing our value, versus listening to the needs of the other people, fulfilling what they want. And when I say they, who do I mean? They might be the company that you're interviewing with, a prospective client, or even somebody that you're looking to get to know better. This isn't necessarily just professional. It can be personal too. There's no way, honestly, that we are able to authentically communicate our value, the solutions that we bring to them in the most effective way, without first truly understanding what are their needs, right? Truly understanding what is it that they need from us. How can we help them fulfill their solutions and bring to them their solutions? And this requires a great deal of due diligence on our part. It's a two-way street, very much. Both are important. Both require great amount of skill. Both require confidence and self-assuredness. I think that's a word. But be careful about the ego. Our ego gets in our way every once in a while, and our ego can truly get in the way without us even realizing it. We feel that if we don't sell ourselves, if we don't talk about what we bring to the table, whether it's representing our company, our products, our services, the amazing attributes that we have to offer, we will fail. Why is this? Because in fact, how, again, possibly can we know that we are the right fit for that company if we have the right features for that company or that team, if we are the right solution until we figure out what those needs are? Does that make sense? Yes. Two-way street. So even though this discussion is specific to how do we advocate for ourselves, keep in mind the best way to advocate for yourself is not only understanding what it is that you want and you need, but by understanding the other person, how are they best going to hear you? How are they best going to respond? Because you are doing the due diligence to figure out what matters to them, and therefore how you are going to engage with them and connect with them. That is the best way to then together create a win-win situation. And that is absolutely the best way to learn and walk away with what you need for yourself as well. And once you have these conversations, and once you've had these conversations and you've done your due diligence, and you believe that you are the right fit for this team, this company, et cetera, ask yourself, are they the right fit for you? Right? I mean, obviously that matters quite a bit. Culture, compensation, benefits. Who do you report to? And do you get along with that person? Are you going to get along with that person? Who is your team? Go and visit the office. Go and see where you're going to work. Does it feel right? Does it feel good? Will you learn with this group? Will you grow? Are they going to provide you mentors? And are they really going to provide you mentorship? What does that look like? Be brave enough to ask them to describe to you, what does that look like? What kind of commitment are they going to give you to have that support? Unfortunately, especially when we're talking with human resources people, no dig on human resources people, but unfortunately, they're there to be the cheerleader, right? They're there to be the advocate for the company they work for. So they're going to tell you what you want to hear. So you want to make sure that it's real, that it's just doesn't sound good, right? And what is best for you, another thing that's really important to remember, what is best for you is very subjective, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that it's, best for your friend or your peer or someone else. What works and feels good to you matters only to fit with what works and feels good to you. So again, the company, the culture, the structure, the team, you've got to do that due diligence, and you've got to do that sort of self-analysis, not to sound weird, but you have to do that self-analysis to figure that out for yourself. Okay. Have you determined what is a good fit for you? If you haven't, ask. Think it through. If you're not even sure what questions to ask, if you're not even sure how to go about it, talk to your peers, talk to your teachers, talk to your counselors. This is another way when ego can sometimes get in the way because we don't want to sound stupid, or we're like, oh, well, I think I should know that. Don't worry about it. Ask, figure it out, because you are doing yourself a disservice by not asking. You are doing yourself a disservice by not figuring that out beforehand. And you are also doing the company, the team, the people that you're looking to go work with a disservice by not figuring out what you want ahead of time, because you're wasting everyone's time. I mean, you just are, right? And that is not a good sign of respect. Don't fake it, right? Don't pretend that you know what you want until you really know what you want. And it's not going to make you look bad. It's going to make you look smart. and it's going to make you look confident to show the boldness. And again, the self-assuredness. I think that that's officially a word now, Tim. We're just going to put that in the, FPA dictionary. That's self-assuredness is officially a word. So again, ask different people for their thoughts. How did they go through the process to figure out what they wanted? And get different perspectives, and then analyze it. Come with good questions when you're in the interviewing process, when you're meeting with the companies. Come with good questions, thought through. And then that by having done that due diligence, you'll be able to be clear, you'll be able to be confident, and try to be calm. That sometimes when we're meeting people that we don't know is the hardest part, is even pretending to be calm. But what I do sometimes when I'm meeting new people, or if I'm, meeting a prospect or whomever, is I pretend I'm meeting somebody new for coffee, right? Or a drink. And it's not sales. It's not an interview. It's just getting to know that other person. Then you will inherently feel more relaxed. Try to quiet your mind. When you first sit down, you're racing, right? You have all these questions, all of these thoughts. What do they think? Did I wear the right outfit? Do I have food in my teeth? Whatever. But try to quiet your mind, because if you don't have the ability to quiet your mind, you're not going to be able to listen to the answers that they give you. Don't think about the next question. Listen to what they're saying to you. Okay. And give yourself the opportunity to process it. In evaluating the kind of company that you want to work with, or the kind of team that you want to work with, again, there is no right or wrong answer. It is completely what is best for you. And I know you may be receiving a lot of pressure from teachers, friends, family, whatever, but in the end, it has to feel good for you. As an example, it may feel like, oh, wow, I have a job offer from Morgan Stanley or Merrill Lynch, or, one of the bigger companies. Bigger isn't always better. A lot of times bigger, and anybody working for a bigger company already, again, this is not a dig, it's just an observation. They often, when we go and we're there and we're younger, you work like a machine for a year or more. And that's what they expect from you before you have an opportunity to go up the ranks. But what comes with that often is a decent salary, security, good benefits. So there's positives that come with you working really, really, really hard. So you have to weigh, what is the culture going to be like? Go and see. Ask to talk to the people that have similar jobs that you will have, that have recently started or have been there a year. Ask to have those conversations. It's okay to request those things. It's important to request those things. Ask to go see the office that you may be working in. Ask to see and ask to speak with your direct report. And if they look at you like you have two heads when you ask to do these things, or like, why are you asking this? Say, it's behooves me to do this kind of due diligence, and it behooves you to let me, because again, we want to make sure that this is a win-win. And put yourself in their shoes. I, the interviewee, respect you and your company, the cost, the time, everything that it takes for you to onboard me, right? So I want to make sure that it's a win-win. Okay. So again, these are all ways that you can sort of suss out if they're going to understand and that if it feels good and that what you're looking for yourself is a good fit with them. If you don't care about work-life balance, no problem. Go work for somebody where you're going to work your tail off and hopefully make good money. If you want work-life balance, obviously you got to find somebody that's going to be the right fit for that and support that, right? So again, my point in all of that is there's no right or wrong. It's only what's right or wrong for you. Okay. I brought up respect, right? Even though this conversation is talking about empowering and advocating for you, you only get respect when you give respect. Okay. I think we all know that, right? So we need to do our best to learn, the person or the company that we're speaking about or to, what's important to them. What's the mission statement of that company? Where are their struggles? What are their challenges? What are their KPIs? What are the things that they're trying to accomplish? And how can you help be the solution to that? You're showing them that you've done the due diligence, which communicates respect. Okay. When you are working with a team or a professor or somebody older or somebody who's different than you are, you may not understand why do they talk like that? Why do they say things like that? Why, I don't understand where they're coming from. Well, they may not understand where you're coming from either, right? So if you do the due diligence and take the time to figure out their why, then they're going to be more likely to take the time and care about your why and what you're looking for. All right. So you need to show respect in order to get respect back. Try to make every situation a win-win. I've said that probably already 4 times, but it's really important. The more that you can show when you're advocating for yourself and you're asking for something for yourself, if you show that person how it's a win-win and you talk about it in the vernacular, the cadence, the communication style that person will connect with, older, younger, male, female, different communication styles. If you want to talk about that more specifically, I'm here. But if you talk to them in a way that they will listen, you are more than likely going to at least get their attention, right? So that's very, very important to try to make every situation a win-win. More likely than not, you'll walk away getting at least a portion of what you're hoping to get. Never assume. Never assume that you know something because of what you've read, because of what you've heard, because of what someone has told you. Always, always, always ask the question. Okay. You can do all of the due diligence online. You can Google, you can, read everything, but there's always potentially another story. There's always potentially another side. So always go in asking questions. Be curious. Okay. Dig to find out what really matters for them. Don't assume it's the company line. Don't assume it's what's on the website. Ask. Okay. I already went through this. Ask to meet other employees that you might be working with. Ask to meet the team. Make sure it's a good fit. You're showing appreciation that you really care, that you want this to be a good fit for all involved. When we were talking yesterday, Tim and Garrett Jackson and I were talking, he made a very good point. The financial industry and the more senior people on the call will smile at this. The financial industry is a very, very small world. It may not feel like it, but it is. Everyone knows someone that knows someone. I've been in the financial industry for more decades than I choose to share, but it's been a long time. And trust me, everyone knows somebody. My point in that is, again, show your value, show respect, even though you know that you're a rock star, you know that you would be a catch for any company. You don't want to come off pompous, arrogant, egotistical. Show value, show respect, show appreciation. Okay. It may feel like you're, having to be a little kiss butt, and maybe that doesn't necessarily feel good. But if you do it in a respectful way, trust me, especially in the financial industry, it does wonders. So always make sure you're putting your best foot forward. If you know that a situation is awful, if somebody has been a complete and total jerk, and you find yourself in a terrible situation, whatever that might be, don't blow up. Trust me, don't argue. Something that I probably shouldn't say, but I'm going to say anyway. Human resources is not always your friend. Human resources, and I feel I get a little sweaty when I say that out loud, because I know people are going to get really mad at me for saying that, but it's true. Human resources has to toe the party line. So one of the things that I am here for is, if there's a situation that's going really poorly for you and you're not sure how to handle it, that's another thing that you can call me about, and I can give you an idea of what to do next. I may probably not know exactly. I am not an attorney, but chances are I've experienced a lot of different situations. Hopefully I can give you some assistance or guidance as far as what to do next, how to handle that. All right, next, how to stand out from the crowd, how to get people to notice you. And I hope I'm not seeing anything in the chat box. So guys, send in questions, send in thoughts, send in ideas. Hopefully you're resonating, or what I'm saying is resonating with you. Let me know how we're doing. I want to make sure that you're with me, that you're engaged. I'm not out in left field. So, let me know that you're out there, you're alive. We've already discussed doing your homework and being ready and with insightful questions. In interviews, in meetings, doesn't matter, whether it's virtual, whether it's in person, whether it's hybrid. Body language matters. Tone of voice matters. Eye contact matters. You may have heard this before, but I'm going to say it again anyway, because it's so, 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 so important, especially. So the biggest goal when you are having a conversation with somebody over Zoom or, whatever, Skype or, whatever, when it's screen to screen, you want to do everything in your power to make that person feel like you're actually sitting across the table, but you're sitting in the same room. So eye contact. Where is the camera on your computer? When you're listening to somebody and they're talking to you, it is so hard to look at the camera and not the person's face. Like, I'm looking at Tim right now, but it looks like I'm looking, to the side, right? So to break that habit as much as you can, have that person's face right next to your camera. Like, I can look at Fletcher and it looks like I'm looking at everybody. Hi, Fletcher. Thank you for being on video, by the way. Sorry, don't blush. But it really, really is important. Having the camera be at eye level, so you're not looking down, you're not looking up, you're not looking at a weird angle. It feels like you're looking at the person when you're in the same room. Stature, shoulders, you want your shoulders back. I know I sound like a mom, but I am, so whatever. You don't want what my daughter calls, excuse my language, resting bitch face. That's what she calls it. Not my fault. But you want to make sure that even when you're listening intently, sometimes it looks like you're pissed off. So you want to work on, you don't want some fake weird smile, but you want to at least, look engaged, right? Have at least a grin, eyes wide open, all of that. You want to look engaged. Another thing with tone of voice, maybe you talk a little faster, maybe you're a little bit more animated. Like you'll notice I'm using my hands a lot in the screenshot. Okay. Because that keeps you engaged, that keeps the connection. So all of those things, even if you feel like they don't matter, they do. Okay. Tone, inflection, asking questions, getting engagement, get people to send questions in the chat, say hi. No one's done it yet. So I'm hoping you're going to do it anyway. Maybe some of you are driving. So, keep the hands on 10 and 2. But please do, again, get them engaged and keep them engaged. Remember, it's about them. Something that's important, if you're in a conversation, meeting, interview, what have you, and you're going to be taking notes often require that you're going to look away, you're going to look down. It may seem weird to say, pardon me while I look away, but I'm taking notes. I just didn't want you to think I was multitasking. That gets you kudos. That gets them realizing that eye contact, you realize that eye contact matters. If you are unable to be on video because, maybe you're in a car or, that's obviously you always want to try to be in a quiet place with little clutter. But if that's just not going to work out for you, no problem. But let them know I'm not on video because I can hear you better. There's a better connection, right? So those things, it shows that you're thinking through what kind of connections matter and the communication matters to you. And the irony in all of that is that authentic communication breeds trust, right? So by you caring about what they're thinking, what they're hearing, how this situation is for them, that fosters trust. And that's all good. Relationship building, etc. Whenever possible, you want to be on video. I'm not meaning to poke at anyone who's, any of the people that are not on video this evening. I'm just glad you're here. But video, especially if it's with a client, with an interviewee, with a teacher, with someone who you want to make sure you have their respect, be on video, again, unless you can't. Because if you're not on video, they assume that you're messing around. Is that assumption fair? No, not necessarily, but it's an assumption and a perception nonetheless. So again, that's why if you can't be on video, share with them as to why not. Last but definitely not least, for all situations in life, and this is important. So if I lost you, please come back. In life, in general, whether it's personal or professional, learn how to read people. It is the best useful tool that you can learn in life. Learn, what does tone of voice mean? What does eye contact mean? Looking up, looking down, body language, where, what are they doing with their arms? What are they doing with their legs? What are they doing with their feet? It sounds weird, but it works. And especially when we are so reliant on cues like eye contact via Zoom. It shows you can't force somebody to look at you, but you can look at them. You can't control what other people do, but you can absolutely present yourself in the best way possible by knowing what matters. But just in general, know that your words matter in texts, in emails, in Twitter, in, there's too many social media platforms to mention. Words matter. Please and thank you matters. All of those things matter. A lot of us suck at it. Don't take it personally. If you're like, wow, that message came off really gruff or really pissy, chances are it has nothing to do with you. Chances are that person's having a crappy day. But if it's something where it does feel personal, it does feel like it's towards you, there's a way to find out where you're not like saying, why are you mad at me? Because in a professional setting, that doesn't usually come off very well. You can say something to the effect of, it seems like something's going on for you today. Might be perceiving that out of left field. If I'm wrong, ignore me. If I'm not wrong, what can I do to help? And offer to help them. How can I, help support you? Is there anything I can take off your plate? And they're going to be like, wow, okay. They're not bitching. They're offering me a solution. Okay. Again, win-win. Respect goes both ways. I'm going to give you a few very fast, very generalized characterizations based on generations. If you want more specifics based upon certain situations that you find yourself in or are going to find yourself in, let's talk, because this is what I love this stuff. And this is what I've done for the last 6 years. Older gentlemen.
Join the meeting.
In general, and again, these are absolutely characterizations, buckets, learn who the people are as individuals, but older men typically facts. They want to know what's real, what's going on, what are the facts, not touchy-feely, not warm and fuzzy. Be in, be out, be quick, be clear. If they're gruff with you, don't take it personally. Just really, really important. Older women. Unfortunately, older women, myself included, we were raised to think in business, we have to be more like a man. And that's not a dig on men. Please don't take it that way at all. It's just often old school is not emotional, very fact-based. You must earn respect. You must, wait your turn. All of these things are very old school, but they're the reality nonetheless, especially in an ego-driven industry like the financial industry. Okay. Again, if you want to talk about that stuff more, if you want to vent, if you want to bitch, I'm here. I'll help you come up with solutions. Is it fair? No. Is it reality? Yes. The younger you get, the little bit, it gets a little bit more patient, a little bit more touchy-feely. Maybe that's not the right way to say it. But you are able to be a little bit less formal, but it's hit or miss. So again, don't assume, find out, ask questions. Younger people, there's younger people on this call. I never, ever mean to speak for anybody else. So you guys know better than I do. You guys are whip smart. You get more shit done in a day than a lot of us get done in a week, and you're ready to move on. So patience is not necessarily always a virtue for you. Again, I could be totally wrong. So pardon me if I am. But don't be surprised when you're ready to move on and you've got 25,000 thoughts going on in your brain and you're having a meeting with somebody who's older, maybe a little slower, they're telling a story about, their weekend fishing with their grandson, and you're like, oh dear God, get me out of here. Breathe and just be patient. So again, these are all just sort of characterizations. We can get into those things more offline. Let me know. Don't assume, and again, this is not a dig on women. Don't assume that women are more maternal, more warm and fuzzy, because again, a lot of us were raised to be exactly the opposite. Again, not fair, not necessarily accurate, but find out. Never assume. Do your due diligence, do your homework. Another little sort of life lesson that I'm going to leave you with, and then we're going to open it up for questions. If you're ever in a situation where somebody does feel like they're frustrated or they're pissed off or they're being really short with you, chances are it has very little to do with you, if anything to do with you. So don't take it personally. That's something that's really important to keep in mind. But do, from the very early get-go, once you've accepted a job, let them know what your criteria are. What kind of what kind of feedback do you want? How often do you want it via email? Do you want it in person? Do you want it on the phone? Let them know, because it should be a two-way street. They may say, oh dear God, you want daily feedback? I can't do that. Okay, well, what does work? So have a discussion. Open up the conversation. Again, make it a win-win. Don't expect them to gush all over you when you've done a good job. But know, okay, what are my expectations? What am I doing well? What can I improve on? And be ready for them to say what you need to improve on. Okay. It doesn't mean you suck. It just means you are needing to grow. You're wanting to grow. We're all needing to grow. None of us know everything. Okay. In the end, if you've been with a company or a team of people, I always ask for at least a year. Try to give it at least a year. And you're miserable. You know that this team is not the right fit for you, etc. Leave, move on. I stayed with the same team for far too long, more than 10 years. I was the only senior partner, only senior female, with a bunch of old school white guys. And we made a lot of money. We did really well. We were managing close to $2 billion in assets. We were traveling, getting awards, flying all over the place. I should have been so happy. I've never been more alone and more miserable in my entire life. And it was because every day I was in this fit was so wrong for me. Every day I was made to feel small, wrong, and just questioning myself all the time. And I didn't leave because I was afraid to. I didn't leave because I'm like, well, God, if I suck, then how am I going to do well somewhere else? So I might as well stay. Well, I finally left, found a group of people that were amazing, got my, behavioral finance certification, all of that stuff, realized that actually what I was talking about all along was really what our clients did want, but it was the people that I was working with, these stodgy old white guys, again, terrible characterization, but whatever. And it didn't mean that they were wrong and I was right. It just meant it was a bad fit. So find your fit and learn how to ask for what you want by learning how they will best engage with you and hear you. And if you want more specifics on that, I'm here. And with that said, I just learn from my mistakes. Don't spend a lot of time with a group of people that make you feel like crap. It's just not worth it. But make sure that you are asking and finding out their why. Because it's not just about you, it's about them too. Okay. Sorry, I'm a mom. What can I say? And with that, I am done. I hope that's been helpful. I hope you've got some good takeaways. If you would do me a favor, if you're not driving, if you're at your computer and can, put in the chat room 1 or 2 takeaways that you got from this conversation this evening. And please, I don't see any questions in the chat. If you want to take yourself on mute and have a conversation, let me know. Fletcher, thank you. Fletcher, do you have any tips to help avoid feeling like I'm coming off as arrogant while trying to communicate what I'd bring to a company during an interview? I often end up underrepresenting what I've done since I feel uncomfortable talking myself up. Oh my gosh, Fletcher, you are in such good company. Many of us were not raised to advocate for ourselves, to sell ourselves, right? I'm the same way. I can sell someone else or a company all day long. So what I recommend, and thank you for the question, it's a fabulous question. And so many people go through this. Find out, do you feel, and you can either come off mute or shake your head yes or no, whatever you're most comfortable with. Do you feel that you've done your due diligence prior to the interviews so you know what that company needs or is looking for? Come, there you go.
It really varies. Sometimes yes, sometimes I don't really feel entirely prepared and I don't really know exactly what they're looking for.
Okay. So with that said, ask. There is absolutely nothing wrong. You know, I know your mission statement is X. You know, I'm sure you've at least gone on their website and you know, poked around their website. I read your mission statement is X. Tell me what this means to you. By the way, and then have this prepared ahead of time. By the way, my skills provide this solution, which might help you. I noticed that you have a number, maybe you're interviewing with a team where there's a number of older people that are advisors. I notice on your team, you have a number of older people, and with the Great Wealth Transfer coming, I believe I would be a huge asset for your team, being younger, being able to therefore authentically build relationships with the younger family members of the existing clients, and therefore we'll be able to maintain those relationships and not lose those assets. So you always make your attributes, connect it to how it will fit and help them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And yeah, that would definitely help me feel comfortable kind of relating that.
Absolutely, because you want to let them know that you're a superstar. You want, but if you ask questions, even, you know, a lot of times it's kind of like being an attorney. You never want to ask a question that you don't know the answer to. When we're interviewing, sometimes we are going to ask questions that we don't know the answer to, but we think we probably have an idea of the answer and therefore know ahead of time, okay, my skill of XYZ or my experience of XYZ can help in that regard. Here's how. Does that help? Good. Right on. Who else? Come play.
Quick
Hi.
comment. Hi, yeah. I mean, Fletcher's question. Sometimes I think I advise students that if they're not comfortable doing the humble boast that you have to in interviews, they can just say, "Oh, my boss told me so and so," or "My professor says I did like that." So that way, you're
Great
not
idea.
Yeah.
Such a good idea. I've been told X. Fabulous. Thank you so much. And is it pronounce your first name for me?
Pankaj. I go by PK, by
Pankaj.
the way. Yeah,
PK.
might be-
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. That's
I also have a question
fabulous.
of,
Please.
so in our program, I see most of the students, it's Memphis is not a campus town. So most students have jobs.
Yeah.
And this is like their second career. Sometimes they're already manager or something, and now they want to become a financial planner. So they do the CFP
Yeah.
and become a FPA member. So for
Sure.
those kind of people, how do you think they should approach? Although they're new to the CFP type career, financial planning careers, but they're not new, they're not rookies, right? They're experienced people.
Which is sometimes harder, right?
Yeah. So
And
how do you make that transition? Or I mean, maybe you have some tips for them.
100%. And this is also something that you and I can spend a long time talking about together. But the experience, so what they always want to touch on is when you are working in the financial advisory field and you're a little bit older, experience and age works in your favor. It just does. Not to, make the younger people feel nervous, because trust me, we need younger financial advisors, because the number of CFP shows and FINRA shows the number of people coming into the financial world to be advisors has dropped off meaningfully. So we need all of you. But for the perspective of people who are making a change, the best thing for them to do is bring in their life experience, right? The best thing for them to do is highlight and connect what they've done in their recent past or in their recent job and how that will help them be a better advisor. And again, age always comes in handy. If they're 30 or 40, there's this metric now, right? That's, there's so many baby boomers that are retiring. They're leaving their wealth to their 30-year-old kids, their 40-year-old kids. That's the perfect age to then be able to relate to those people. And it isn't, as you guys know as well as I do, 7 times out of 10, the way that you get a new client or you build loyalty with an existing client, like if you start working with a team and you build loyalty with their existing clients, it's based on relationships. It's based on people skills. Do they want to make sure that you know your stuff? Of course. But trust matters more than anything, right? Trust, authenticity, connection, getting to know one another, them knowing that you truly care. And that comes through any life's work, any experience, any job. Does that help, PK?
Very much, very much. And
Okay.
are there specific types of positions or firms that they should work with, or are there franchises they need to take out or consider taking out for these more experienced folks who are just doing the late stage in their career, they're making a transition?
So when you say late stage, quantify that for me.
Yeah, so those people, like I said, some of them have had 15, 20 years of experience as a manager, let's say FedEx or AutoZone or International Paper, these type of companies. And now it's like complete shift in some ways, because financial planning is not about logistics or about
Right.
auto parts, but
business is business, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, business is business and relationships are relationships. Communication is communication. Trust building is trust building. It's pervasive across any industry. To answer your question more specifically, I'm going to give you my opinion. This is not based on fact. This is based on my opinion, perception, observation. Okay. More than likely, again, I have to be really careful, but in my opinion, going to a large RIA, broker dealer, probably they will have better luck than a wirehouse. Wirehouses tend to recruit, young people, right? They want FAs. They want people that they can, pay $70,000 for, a year or 2 years, right? And they work like dogs and all of that stuff. They're not necessarily looking for a man or a woman that has kids. And, so, I mean, again, those are biases, perceptions, shame on me. Again, ask the questions, do the due diligence. But my guess, my perception, and I spend every day, all day reading, listening, talking to people in all levels of the financial world. That is my guess, PK. Hopefully that helps. And
Yeah.
if I'm wrong, I apologize, but that's my guess. Did that
Thanks.
answer your question? That
Very much. Yeah,
part?
very useful
Okay.
session. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Yay. Anybody else? Art, Victor, Jody, anybody have any questions? Thank you for being here. You guys have been really easy on me. Let me give you, I'm going to chat. I'm going to type in the chat my email. Please, please, please don't hesitate to email me, xycommunication.com. So for those of you who can't see the chat, my email is Julie, Julie, at XY, and then the word communication, no S on the end. So Julie at xycommunication.com. Please don't hesitate to email me. You can text me if you want, 303-726-8976. Again, 303-726-8976. I really, really, really want to advocate for people who are starting out. Maybe they're not starting out, but they're not where they want to be. Maybe they're where they want to be, but they, I just want to help people because I didn't have anybody to help me when I was in my, late 20s, in my 30s, in my 40s. I didn't have anybody that I could talk to without fear of judgment. And maybe that was on me. Maybe that was my own worry. But that is why I'm here, is to help people have somebody that they can talk to without fear of judgment, that is just purely solutions based. So please, I hope to hear from you. And please share my information with anyone. Do I specifically work with people in the financial world? Yes. But again, as we said, communication is communication, trust building, these kind of conversations, advocating for yourself, navigating situations via conversations and communication. It's not just in the financial industry, it's in any industry, right? It's at home, it's with personal relationships. So it's all about communication and connection. And so share my information with anyone you feel I might be able to help. And with that
It didn't come
said,
through. Do you mind typing it again in the chat?
oh, yeah.
Or maybe you forgot to
Oh, did I not
send.
hit? Maybe I didn't hit send. Did I not hit? Minor detail. I didn't hit. Did you get it now?
Yeah, got
So
it now.
Julie at xycommunication.com. PK is keeping me on the straight and narrow here. That's a good thing.
And
All
thank
right,
you,
my
Julie. I really appreciate you being on this evening and sort of leading this conversation. Just a quick sort of plug and whatnot. The recording for this will be posted on the FPA Connect page and a few community forums there. So feel free to look for it there. We'll probably post it on a few other places as well if you'd like to come back to it, revisit it. But definitely reach out to Julie and continue that conversation. And then the last little bit is, if you're looking for a space to kind of continue this conversation with, other students, other professors, all of that, please be checking out the FPA Connect pages. We have a lot of good topics going on there, just resources for folks. So please check that out. But thank you, Julie, so much. And thank you all for being on this call this evening.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Jody got your note. Thank you so much. Have a great night, everybody. Stay safe. Bye.